them, Lord, you said it was good. Today, as we gathered here in Morant's Bay, in the parish of St. Thomas, we are giving you thanks, Almighty God, for all that you have done for us. In spite of the challenges that we are facing, you have been good to us. Today, God, we don't even have to remind you to wake us up. You renewed your faithfulness in our lives. And so, God, in the midst of crisis, in the midst of despair, in the midst of our challenges, God, we are here today to celebrate the hope that is coming to your people. And God, as your word declares it, that we are to commit our plans to you, and it will be of good success. And as I stand before your people this afternoon, Almighty God, I'm asking you that you will continue to bless the plans of our Prime Minister and his team. Oh God, we are looking to you for favor. We are looking to you, God, that your hands will be in this. This parish really needs a turnaround. And we thank you, God, for the vision that you have placed into your leaders, that you have set to lead your people in Jamaica. Almighty God, I pray that you'll continue to bless our Prime Minister, bless his ministers, and all the persons that are working with him. I pray, God, that you will guide them in a very special way. In the midst of the crisis of crime and violence, God, I believe there is still hope for this nation. I believe, Almighty God, there is hope for every young person in this nation. And so, Lord, I am presenting our plans. I am presenting this evening service to you, God, that you will be glorified. Take control. I give you all the praise. I give you all the honor, and I give you all the glory for what you are about to do right here in this island of Jamaica, and especially in St. Thomas. Spirit of the Lord, I pray that all the negatives that were spoken over this parish, Lord God Almighty, it shall be a thing of the past. Everything, God, that was negative, Lord, that they present about this parish, God, you have people here who can steer this parish to victory. You have people here, Almighty God, who can bring deliverance to this parish. And so, God, I am praying that there will be unity among your people. I am praying, Almighty God, that they will listen to their leader and there will be no confusion and contention, Lord God Almighty. Bless, Lord. Bless, Almighty God. Open financial doors, Lord God Almighty, for things to happen for this parish. We declare it. I believe it today, God, that you are our hope, you are our deliverer, you are our provider, you are our protector, and you are our way maker. I give this day to you, Almighty God. And God, I am praying that today will not be like other days when we plan, God, and it don't come to pass. I pray, Almighty God, that whatever shall say here today, it shall be fruitful. Lord God, youths that are leaving high school will know that there is hope for them. And so, God, I give you everything for St. Thomas. Everything, God. Lord, Paul Bogle fought, Lord God, for the freedom of his people. And today, God, we are here because we know that prosperity is here in this parish. And so we bless your wonderful name. Father, be glorified once again. In Jesus' name. Amen.
And the people say amen. You may be seated, everybody. Good afternoon or good evening from St. Thomas, as Junior Purbu, the pastor of the Trinityville Church of God of Prophecy, pointed out, the parish of Paul Bogle. We're here this evening live on Nationwide 90 FM, on Love 101 FM, and on JNN, bringing to you the second in a series of Hope for Jamaica Town Hall meetings. My name is Naomi Francis. I'll be your moderator this evening. My full-time job is the press secretary at the Office of the Prime Minister. And so this evening, let me tell you, first of all, who are the people here with you to answer your questions here in St. Thomas and to tell you about the development plans for St. Thomas. Later on, we'll be joined by the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. With us this afternoon are the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, the Minister of Local Government and Community Development. The Honorable Daryl Vaz, the Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. We also have the Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Member of Parliament for Western St. Thomas, Mr. James Robertson. And here in Eastern St. Thomas, we have Dr. Fenton Ferguson, the Member of Parliament for Eastern St. Thomas. We also have a woman who runs things in terms of the administration of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Mrs. Audrey Sewell, the Permanent Secretary in both the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and the Office of the Prime Minister. The Honorable Marcia Bennett, the Custos Rotularium for the Parish of St. Thomas. His Worship, the Mayor, Lenworth Rawle, Mayor of Morant Bay. We have councillors from St. Thomas. We have heads of agencies and government departments, especially to the Factories Corporation and the entire team. You'll see them shortly, led by Mr. Littleton Tanny Shirley, the chairman of the Factories Corporation, who will tell you about the wonderful development plans here for St. Thomas. We also have directors from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, representatives from the private sector. We have agencies such as the National Environment and Planning Agency. We have the head of the HOPE program. We have representatives from the National Works Agency, the National Water Commission, and the Urban Development Corporation. So we have a cadre of persons within government who can help you to understand that St. Thomas is not the forgotten parish. And so let's start things off this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are in his town, so may I invite the Mayor of Morant Bay to bring us greetings. Mayor, 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 right here. Yes.
St. Thomas, good afternoon. How are you feeling? I, for one, is so pleased to be a part of what is taking place this afternoon. So I would say, welcome to our Prime Minister when he comes. Welcome to my Minister of Local Government, the Honorable Desmond McKenzie. Welcome to the rest of government ministers that are here. Welcome to the custos of the parish. Welcome to the Member of Parliament, both for East and West, Mr. Dr. Fenton, Ferguson, and James Robertson. Welcome to my councillors of the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, who is here this evening to participate in an event that will take us forward for a long, long time. Welcome to the dignitaries to my left. Factories Corporation of Jamaica, the team, welcome you all to St. Thomas. And from far and wide, the entire St. Thomas, both east and west, on the borders of St. Thomas and Kingston. Everybody, the news media and all, welcome all to this parish. You have all journeyed from different committees to be here this evening. And this is an indication that you all have an interest in what will take place in our parish. Sweeping down from the serene heights of the Blue Mountain to the pristine coastline of the southeast Jamaica, the parish of St. Thomas, is one of the most toured in the island. I can attest to the fact that it is indeed a beautiful parish. As you know, the rich history, as we can boast of its legacy, we have so many untapped potential, both the people and the natural resources. There are many notable persons from this parish, both politicians, musician, businessman, even Olympian. I can name a few. In music, Winston Blake. In sports, Juliet Cuthbert. In sport, Ansel Parchment. In music again, Taros Riley. And then we have a young guy who won the spelling bee contest at one time, Hannes Brown Jr. And the great man himself, Paul Bogle. It is being said that sometimes St. Thomas is a forgotten parish. I was cautioned once before in regards to that statement. But because I have a vision, and my vision means planning for the future, as a good book would say, where there is no vision, the people will perish. So therefore, tonight, the question is, are we in the vision world? Are we just here for party's sake? I ask, today is a day for history to be created by taking St. Thomas forward to the limits, from the east to the west, from the north to the south, both by highways and byways, and stop the brain drain from leaving this parish to both Kingston and Portland. As the municipal corporation struggle even to find a matron to put in the system, I urge the lawmakers to raise the salary of nurses that they can take part, because the elderly who suffers on a daily basis need our infirmary to work. So therefore, as I traveled around, I asked all business and all business makers and policy makers, follow the road to St. Thomas. We have no time in our short history to believe that we came in number one. We have all the coastline we can think of. We have all the avenues to make it well. So please, I'm just begging, don't come here tonight and say prosperity. Say prosperity with a vision. Thank you.
Thank you so much to His Worship, the Mayor, Lenworth Rawle, for bringing greetings. And the Mayor is correct. St. Thomas is one of the most beautiful parishes with one of the most beautiful spots in Jamaica, and I speak of none other than White Horses. Give yourselves a round of applause for keeping it such a pristine area, ladies and gentlemen. Our next speaker is a woman who has served this country well through being in the public service. She's spent more than 25 years in government, serving in various spheres and in various ministries. And now she is the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, who, by the way, is the sponsor of the Hope for Jamaica campaign and the Hope for Jamaica town hall meetings. May I invite Mrs. Audrey Sewell to bring you greetings.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Community Development. Honorable Daryl, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Mr. James Robertson, Member of Parliament, Western St. Thomas. Dr. Fenton Ferguson, Member of Parliament, Eastern St. Thomas. Honorable Marcia Bennett, Custos Rotolorium, Custos of St. Thomas. His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Lenworth Rawle, who you just heard from. Councillors, board chairmen, board members, heads of agencies, colleagues from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and the Office of the Prime Minister and other government ministries, colleagues from the various agencies, too numerous to mention here, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. As you were told by the moderator, these town hall meetings are being conducted under the auspices of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. And this is the second one that we would have been participating in. A decision has been taken internally that for areas, parishes, towns, etc., where there are plans for major projects, that we would have these consultations to update the citizens and all stakeholders of what these plans are, to hear from you what you would like for your parish or your town, and to ensure that whatever we do, we are doing it together. And it's not just the ministry that is sitting down and making plans for you. There are plans for this parish. And why, you would ask, why the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is being featured here? It is because it is the ministry that has the agencies that are driving all the major investment projects, infrastructural projects in the country. For example, we have the Factories Corporation of Jamaica that will play a major role in the development plans here. We have also the National Works Agency, the plan for the highway that you probably would have heard of before. I was here some time ago, Dr. Ferguson, when we signed the initial agreement for the highway. And you will be updated on the plans for the construction. So we have the National Works Agency. We have the Port Authority of Jamaica. We have Caribbean Maritime University and several other entities that are working to ensure that we bring infrastructural development and investment in various areas. So my ministry, which is headed by the Prime Minister, has some ministers, Minister Vaz, Dr. Horace Chang, and by extension, we have also the Honorable Derek Smith in the Office of the Prime Minister. We are working assiduously to ensure that all the plans under our portfolio are implemented and implemented effectively and efficiently. We want you to participate in the discussions this evening. This is the opportunity that you have to ask all the questions that you need. This is your time. We went to St. Thomas already, St. Anne, and we shared with them all the plans for port development and for the fish village and the markets, etc., etc. Your night is tonight, and so we look forward to getting feedback from you, to getting suggestions, because we value what you have to say. So do have a very productive evening.
Thank you so much, P.S. Audrey Sewell from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. And the Permanent Secretary is right. This is government coming to you. We value what you have to say and your input in the development of your parish. And so it's important that we share the thoughts that we have and the plans we have, but also to get the feedback from you, the buy-in from you, so that together we can go forward. So thank you once again, P.S. Sewell. Now, I was about to mention that this area right to my right is sterile. So all the people who are outside, who may be putting a chair there, I'd ask you to just take them down to the back. And all of those, I see so many people on the outside. There are chairs. There are so many chairs. I ask you, please, just come on in, get a chair, sit down, and let's talk together. All right? So those at the sides, may I invite you to just get a seat on the inside. If you go around that side to my left, certainly chairs will be there for you to have. All right. So now this is where we roll up our sleeves and start telling you what's going to happen for the parish of St. Thomas. And the man who has a glimpse into all the plans for the highways and the byways and the roads that are on your mind is from the National Works Agency. So may I ask you to put your hands together and welcome Mr. Stephen Shaw, the Communications Manager from the NWA.
Thanks, Naomi. Good evening, St. Thomas. I will, since I'm coming after the PS, I'm going to piggyback on her protocols, and I'll say all protocols observed. I have a few minutes to speak this evening, and so I will say what it is we are doing as it relates to the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. Now, many of you may be aware that the government has plans to improve the corridor from Harborview in St. Andrew to Port Antonio in Portland. A significant bit of road that will pretty much continue that which had started with the improvement in the corridor from Negril to Ocho Rios and from Ocho Rios to Port Antonio. The corridor has been divided into 3 distinct sections to using. And so what you are going to be getting at the end of the day is a vastly improved road network between Harborview and Port Antonio. A bonus in all of this, if I may call it that, is the fact of the rehabilitation of that stretch from Morant Bay all the way to Cedar Valley, a brand new road. Now, there are some things that we have had to be doing. I know persons have become a little antsy, asking questions. What is it that is taking place? There are a lot of back office things that we must do. And part of that, since the last time we would have had a meeting such as this, is that we would have completed the environmental impact assessment study, which is necessary for this kind of project. The report is now being perused by NEPA. They will make their comments, and thereafter we'll meet as a group in government, and a decision will be taken as to when it is we will come back to the parish in a forum such as this, where we are going to be sharing with you the details of the environmental impact assessment study. So that meeting should happen within 60 days, I believe. Once we have been able to complete all that is necessary insofar as NEPA's take is concerned, and us putting the information out, we'll be having a public meeting. I can tell you that the contract is in place insofar as the funding goes. When we met last time out, that was not the case. But the government has signed, and this contract was signed, the loan agreement, on February 6th this year. So the funding is in place and secured. The design work is going to be starting pretty soon. A preliminary design would have been done. China Harbor, who are the contractors involved, they are now going to be finalizing the design, and at the same time, we are now preparing a cabinet submission which will now be dealing with the issue of land acquisition, because we have properties that we'll have to acquire in order to widen the corridor from Harborview to Albion, and we are going to be doing bits and pieces of land take from Albion all the way to Port Antonio. So a cabinet submission is being prepared, and that will come. So land acquisition will start very, very soon. I thank you. I know questions will come. There are other things happening in the parish, and I stand ready to share with you. Good evening.
The erstwhile Stephen Shaw, the communications manager for the National Works Agency, telling you about the major highway, certainly that will help to fuel the development of St. Thomas, and I'm sure during question and answer you'll have some other questions for him concerning roads in your area too. Before we continue, may I ask the team from the Factories Corporation of Jamaica in particular to stand so that you can see them at this time, just at this time. We have leading the team, Mr. Littleton Tanny Shirley, the chairman of the Factories Corporation, and the rest of the team. Mr. Stern, I see you. And of course, there are others outside with information on the Factories Corporation. Now, I do that now to set you up for what is to come. Because on the screens, don't think the screens are just there to, allow you to see what's here. Later on in the presentation tonight, you will see for yourselves the development plan for the parish of St. Thomas. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Eastern St. Thomas. And the man who says, I beg your pardon, it's Western, Mr. Robertson. How could I? But Eastern St. Thomas is Dr. Fenton Ferguson. And so may I ask Dr. Ferguson at this time to come and bring greetings.
Madam Moderator, Honorable Custos, His Worship the Mayor, Cabinet Ministers McKenzie and Vaz, Green, present here this afternoon. I know the Prime Minister is on his way. I'd like to recognize the councillors of the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, and former councillors. I want to recognize the chairman of the Factories Corporation and the deputy chairman and executive director of the Factories Corporation of Jamaica, our permanent secretary, ladies and gentlemen, friends of St. Thomas present here this afternoon. Let me begin on behalf of the people of Eastern St. Thomas, and I know my friend and colleague from the West will speak shortly, but let me welcome all those who have come this afternoon. And I want to begin by welcoming the projects that are being contemplated for St. Thomas, and in particular, the site on which we now sit or stand is in the public space in terms of a major conversation. And so I want to thank the Prime Minister and his team for coming this afternoon to tell the people of St. Thomas what are the plans for this parish. But as Member of Parliament for the East, and I know that James would share some of my views, the people of St. Thomas, we are deeply anxious about the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. We recognize that this 110 kilometers of roadway from Harborview to Port Antonio that will move people, goods, and service, and at the same time improve the possibilities for this parish in relation to tourism, in relation to agriculture, in relation to major investments, one of which is contemplated on this site, and in relation to opening up St. Thomas for further business. The people are concerned about the township that is planned for this site. And while we welcome it with open arms, we know sometimes that the devil is in the details. And therefore, we want to be clear that this project, which both administrations have failed in relation to this Goodyear site. And today, we are of great hope. I see the hope for Jamaica. And in that, I want to know that this project announced by the Prime Minister and the chairman of the board, that it will become a reality. $6,000 jobs from the BPO is nothing to sneeze on if it ever happens. And we know that there are hundreds of graduates. St. Thomas was the last parish to have gotten high school in 1961. We now have 6 high schools, and we have bright students with many subjects sitting home waiting for great opportunity. We are concerned that while this project is being developed, that the old township of Morant Bay, which is being cited to become a heritage town, that work will also begin concomitantly with what is being contemplated here. We want to know that the central sewage system for Morant Bay will come on stream. We want to know that in all of this, the Rudolph Elders Park
will become a critical part of the program. And as we go forward, Bowden, that is there now being used as a security post, we believe that there is great possibility for Bowden in all the plans that are coming on stream at this time. And so I appeal on behalf of all the people of St. Thomas that we come on stream. Ladies and gentlemen, again I close in thanking the Prime Minister for making St. Thomas the second place for having this town hall meeting. We welcome it, and whatever P you might be, this is for the development of the people of St. Thomas. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fenton Ferguson, the Member of Parliament for Eastern St. Thomas. And Dr. Ferguson said he is anxious to see the plans come to fruition. Well, as the good Bible says, Doc, be anxious for nothing. Tonight you will hear certainly a little bit more in terms of the forward planning of all that we have to share. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to invite to the podium the Member of Parliament for Western St. Thomas, James Robertson.
I have been making representation for the people of West St. Thomas for almost 15 years. And today, I stand here the most happy man in St. Thomas. I could come here and do two things. Continue the welcome and say thank you, because I am so confident today, because we know where the money is for the highway. We know where the money is for the rebirth of Morant Bay and St. Thomas. And 152 years after our hero, Paul Bogle, made representation for a fair share of the tax dollar, a fair share and respect to the people of Jamaica, not only St. Thomas, I say thank you to the Prime Minister, Factories Corporation, my ministers of a great administration. Desmond McKenzie, welcome. Daryl Vaz, welcome. Floyd Green, welcome to St. Thomas. Our Custos is here today. Please stand up, Custos. You know I was going to embarrass you. Our mayor, deputy mayor, and councillors are with us. Please stand up, all of you. Come, Mr. Mayor, stand up. Without fear, I say to even those who served in other councils, to Mr. Hanif Brown, and to others, I say, this set of councillors and the way they are working is making St. Thomas proud. They are working hard. I am not distracted like you by a little court case that's going on, because the work of the councillors go on, and St. Thomas has to be served, and served well, and served now. All of you in this room know that I don't play politics when I'm putting the people of St. Thomas first. I come to serve all, PNP, JLP, and no P. And I say to Dr. Fenton Ferguson, I listened to your concerns, I listened to the representation you made this evening, and I share 90% of it with you. Only the little part where you are slightly skeptical of the way forward, I don't share with you. You see, when you have trust and relationships like I have and like most of us have in this room, we can take any path because we know, we trust, love, and we know at the end of the road we are going to be together. I want to just indicate that none of this would be possible today if we did not have the highway coming. It is the road network improvement that will take place that makes this possible. I have been on this site with many people, making many promises to the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, up to 6,000. Dr. Fenton Ferguson said, we'll get jobs when this comes through and this project bears fruit. I want to close because somebody says I don't have much time to speak, and I just want to ask you to bear with me whilst I remember individuals who have served this parish well through the political process as members of parliament. I will not forget Isaac Barrett. I will not forget Lindell Newland, Violet Thompson, Pernell Charles. I will not forget the longest serving so far, Dr. Fenton Ferguson, and I said so far. I will not forget Miss McPherson. I will not forget Ken Clark. And let us never forget Robert Lightburn, who made this possible. Let's not forget Errol Anderson, who built more community centers and did more for the youth of this parish than any of us in this room, including me. I will not forget Anthony Hilton, and I will not forget myself because I have served you well. You don't have to tell me my time is spent because it is well spent with you tonight. I am the happiest person in this room because when you tell me that you're putting St. Thomas first and you show me the money, which you have done, I say to Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, a job well done. Bless you, thank you, and may God bless you all and take you home safely.
Thank you so much, James Robertson, the Member of Parliament for Western St. Thomas. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we get into the segment where we have persons within the arms of government, so to speak, coming to you. This next presenter is currently the youngest serving as a Minister of State. He's an advocate for youth. He came in government as a lawyer and certainly is leaving with credentials and serving, beg your pardon, with credentials, having been a part of the thrust to help to develop the youth policy agenda. Please put your hands together for the Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, the Honorable Floyd Green.
Thank you very much, Naomi. Custos, Mayor, Ministers of Government, Councillors, former Councillors, Members of Parliament, Permanent Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, everybody. Today is a good day for the people of St. Thomas. And I'm very happy to be here to share in this, our second Hope for Jamaica Town Hall meeting, where we give you the opportunity to be updated on some of the initiatives of government on the various portfolios and some of the things we're doing specifically for your parish and for your community. I think we all know that our people remain our greatest asset. And we will have to unlock the potential of our people if we're truly going to bring hope to Jamaica. In fact, we all know our young people are some of the most creative in the world. They're some of the most talented in the world. They work some of the hardest in the world, but we also know that a lot of them are frustrated. A lot of them are fed up with our systems of government that they feel don't listen to them. A lot of them have gone to school, have worked very hard, and are frustrated because they can't find any jobs. A lot of them, unfortunately, have given up on Jamaica and have given up on their parishes. It is our responsibility to restore hope to our young people. That is what this government has set out to do. One of the first things our young people said to us while we were in opposition is that we want a government who listens to the voice of the youth. We don't want to hear the plans after. We want you to bring us in and talk to us about the plans. We said to them we're going to do that. In fact, last year, for the first time in a long time, we brought our young people, including those from St. Thomas, to the Houses of Parliament. And we had our youth parliament where they spoke to us and told us what they wanted to see in their communities. In fact, we said, let's take it a step further. Every government has advisors, not true? But why not have the young people as advisors? For the first time in our history, we have 16 youth advisors below the age of 25 who advise the government on how to move forward. One of the things that we all know is that we have to create a framework so our young people can be employed. Part of the problem they have had is that they go to jobs and the people say, where is the work experience? We had a summer work program. When we came in, we were putting 5,000 people in work for the summer so that they could get some work experience. We said that is good, but that is not enough. Last year, we moved it up and we put 6,000 young people to work to give them that work experience. We said that is good, but that is not enough. This year, we're going to put at least 12,000 young people across the length and breadth of Jamaica in our summer work program. We understand that it doesn't make sense you have the jobs and you don't have the young people who are trained in the various areas. One of the things that we did very early is that we sat down, and you know Minister Robertson, MP Robertson tells you, he makes great advocacy for St. Thomas. And we recognized we had a problem with access to some of the hard programs. So we decided to do a mobile welding unit. We call it Heart Sparks, where we could roll that unit into the communities so that our young people could get that welding training. You want to know the first community we rolled that into? The community of Yalas, St. Thomas, so that we could start training our young people. We're on a drive now to train our young people in business process outsourcing. You would have heard the great ideas for this area. And I say to the young people, take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. We are now looking to train over 3,000 people in the business process outsourcing through Heart Trust NTA. We have merged the Heart Trust and the NYS JFLL to create more opportunities. One of the things when I came in as the Minister of State in Youth, we recognized that St. Thomas was one of the few parishes that doesn't have a youth center, not even a youth community access point. In fact, our youth officers used to have to catch by Paul Bogle. Hi, we're changing that. And we've signed the lease agreement right on Queen Street in Morant Bay. You're going to have your first ever youth access point in St. Thomas this year. They say the time is spent, but there are more things that we're doing. We're working on the youth policy, which we expect that our new youth policy will be unveiled come this month. We're also reintroducing the PM Youth Awards, and I want to encourage our young people from St. Thomas to apply, because one of the things we're doing this year is that we're looking for 55 young people across the length and breadth of Jamaica who have strong community service. Because sometimes you have the young people in the communities doing well and they're not being recognized. This government going to recognize our young people for their service. The last thing I will say, I'll touch a little education. For a long time we have spoken about secondary education. But unless we fix our basic schools, unless we fix our primary schools, we won't get education right, because we keep playing catch up in the education game. Last year we did a lot to ensure access at the secondary level. This year we say, you know, a lot of our primary schools need more resources. Our primary schools used to get $850 per student to take care of the general needs of the school. In this budget, we have increased that allocation from $850 per student to $2,500 per student to help our primary schools do a better job. I have tremendous hope. This is a parish that has created greats. When you look at Juliet Cuthbert, when you look at Hands of Parchment, if they get the opportunity, they can do well. When you look at this site and you remember that it used to lead the country in manufacturing, you know if you put the opportunity there, the people of St. Thomas will do the work. This is a step in the right direction, and this gives me hope for our youth and hope for Jamaica. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Floyd Green, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and certainly he's been driving the youth agenda. And of course, as the State Minister said, the Prime Minister's Youth Awards nominations are open. We expect the parish of St. Thomas to be well represented. Minister Green, you have information, your information officers are here, so if you don't get a chance to ask your questions, especially as it relates to issues having to do with training, the Combined Heart Trust, JFLL, and NYS, certainly Minister Green's assistants are here, and Minister Green himself is here, that they can speak to you about that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll welcome a man who I call the Minister of Everything. But really and truly, he's a very hard worker, operating out of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. He is the minister without portfolio in that ministry. Put your hands together for Mr. the Honorable Daryl Vaz.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My colleague ministers, colleague member of parliament, Honorable Custos, worship the mayor, councillors, former councillors, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and I will stop at that and say all other protocols observed. The Prime Minister should be here shortly, and he really is here to outline the plans and vision for St. Thomas. So I will just give brief remarks. I have a saying that there's a time to talk and there's a time to work. And we did all the talking up to February 2016. And subsequent to that, it's time to work. So you don't hear a lot from me because I'm working. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to just assure you that I stand here as minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, a ministry that today answers all the naysayers in terms of why it was created. It was created to bring as many of the critical agencies under one directorship, under the Prime Minister with 3 other ministers, to make sure that we could make things happen. We came in on a mandate of economic growth and job creation. And we have a responsibility to deliver that in the shortest possible time. So what you're seeing here today is something that all of government, what I like to call whole of government nowadays, which is bringing everybody together, taking a policy directive and implementing. Implementing is always the hardest part because that's where you have all the bureaucracy of the procurement, etc. But today, I not only stand proud to be a minister, despite without portfolio, in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, because I know that under the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, that when he says he's going to do something, it is going to happen. I speak almost as passionate as my colleague James and Fenton, because Portland and St. Thomas, depending on what you mention it in what category, they say we are the forgotten parishes because we are out in the east. Well, I can tell you one thing, ladies and gentlemen, it's two things. One is everybody here knows I don't put my mouth aground and talk. And secondly, I learned from a young age, passing christening picnic fuss. And therefore, my commitment to you is twofold. One, as, I wouldn't say senior, as a minister responsible for this region, specifically Portland and St. Thomas. Similar to how the 9-star general was when he was at the wicket. I can say to you that you have my assurance that I am going to passionately work with the two MPs and with my colleague Desmond McKenzie through local government to make sure that we expedite that all of what is required, once it is presented in the proper format, presented in front of the government agencies, we are going to make sure that there is no hitch. Smooth running. Just like how the highway is going to be smooth right through from Harborview to Portland, the process to implement it must be just as smooth. I undertake Factories Corporation, falls under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. National Works Agency, fall under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. National Water Commission, under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. NEPA, under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. So we have no excuses. Our ministry is driving this project, working hand in hand with all the other ministry, complementary ministries and agencies. As James said, the money has been found for the highway. And without the highway, this can't work. But what I can say in closing is that what we have is a public-private partnership. PPP, remember those P's. You have PNP and JLP, yes. But private-public partnership is what is going to move Jamaica from poverty to prosperity. And let me explain to you how and why. Government has the responsibility to make sure that infrastructure is implemented and financed. Whether through the Chinese, whether through grants, whether through the multilaterals, that's not your concern. That's a government concern. But we must make the conditions right for private money to be ready and available to put into the infrastructure. And infrastructure, not road infrastructure or water infrastructure. Development infrastructure. And this government, I can tell you, and I speak on behalf of the Prime Minister and all my cabinet ministers, is here to facilitate. That is the role of government, not to impede, but to move red tape to red carpet. And once you do that, you will get the investment that is so badly needed to drive the growth which is going to create the jobs. So I am going to come down now because I want to make sure that my colleague minister, who has such a critical role to play, and I know all of you want to hear from the Minister of Local Government. But what I can tell you is that you have not only the Prime Minister's commitment, which he will give you personally, but you have all of us. And as James rightly said, there's no PNP and JLP that is here tonight. That is what the party of choice. Jamaica is the bigger picture, and we have a responsibility to right the wrongs and give the people the opportunities through job creation, which is going to create growth in the economy and vice versa. So understand, we are here and we have been in for a year and a half. And we are going to use this project as a template to move to other parishes with a similar sort, maybe not the same size because of land requirements. But I want to say to FCJ and to my permanent secretary and all the hard-working members of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, we have a responsibility. The ministry is named after the mandate that we were elected on. Let us pull together and work in the interests of Jamaica, land we love. God bless you.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Daryl Vaz, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. And don't forget, the Hope for Jamaica Town Hall meetings are being brought to you by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. As of course you know, this is the second town hall in the series. We intend to go across the island with this series. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a man to you who understands local government inside out. He previously served as a mayor, yes, for Kingston and St. Andrew. And so now he's elevated to minister. May I invite Minister Desmond McKenzie, Head of Local Government and Community Development, to bring greetings.
Thank you. Thank you, Naomi. My colleague, cabinet ministers, members of parliament, His Worship the Mayor, and my councillors of a St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, councillors representing both sides of the political divide. Custos of St. Thomas, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a privilege to be taking part in yet another of a series of town hall meetings to sensitize and to reason with the people on the road to prosperity based on the mandate of the government. I just want to quickly deal with some local government issues that I know my councillors will all be smiling when they leave here this evening. It is the commitment of the administration, not just to transform local government, but to equip them to become better servants of the people and serve the people, especially here in the parish of St. Thomas. For many years, you have been operating without a municipal building in this parish. The circumstances under which you operate leaves a lot to be desired. You can't sit down and reason with the people. You can't administer the affairs of the people of St. Thomas because you are restricted in a bad way. Tonight, as you may have heard by the way, it is official. the first building to be constructed on this site will be the new St. Thomas Municipal Building. It is going to be the first of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean. It is built so that the councillors, so that you, the people of St. Thomas, will have an opportunity to work as one, to work in an environment that is conducive for service delivery. And we're going to be challenging the people of St. Thomas when this building is ready, that you use it and use it to the best of your ability. It is going to be built over a period of time. And I want to assure you that the people of St. Thomas will have the opportunity to decide who will sit in that new building. Because if they don't perform, you know what to do when the time comes. There are a number of issues here in the parish that I want to address quickly. The long-awaited new fire station for Yalas. Later in the month of August, the contract for the new Yalas Fire Brigade station will be signed. It is a commitment that I made to follow through on, and I am proud to announce that already the work have started to put together the necessary documentations, the drawings, so that in another 2 years, what has been your biggest cry will become a reality. We are also spending an additional $10 million to carry out remedial work on the fire station in Morant Bay, because the men and women who operate there is desperately in need of proper surroundings. So we'll be spending a significant amount on improvement for the station in Morant Bay. We're going to be looking at working mayor and councillors. We're going to be providing some $20 million to renovate the Morant Bay market. And I guess by the applause, let's welcome the most honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Andrew Holness.
My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream. Tell you my dream is to live my dream. Hear the most I in me sleep when me sleep. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. All of my goal is to reach my goal. Live a happy life, put it on me headstone. Nobody no fi cry over me dead. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh, oh. Look at me now, oh. Look at me now, oh. Look at me now. I mean, I tell you my life, where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. Me a take plane like JUTC. When you see me, it's on TV. Shows after shows after shows after shows.
All right, look at me now. Thank you. Let's again welcome the most honorable Prime Minister. Let's have a big hand for the most honorable Prime Minister, Andrew Holness. Thank you. Wrapping up quickly, Your Worship, we know the damages that you experienced during the last rains that reap havoc in the parish. The Ministry of Local Government will be providing an additional $35 million for road improvement in the parish. We are also paying special attention, Mayor, to shelters. We have identified 6 shelters in the parish of St. Thomas that we are going to be paying special attention to. I want to use this opportunity tonight to beg the people of St. Thomas. When you hear the call, if and when we are faced with any issues during the upcoming hurricane season, I'm begging you, when we call, answer to the call. It is easier. We spend the money to repair the building. It is difficult to repair and to replace lives. I can urge you tonight in this town hall meeting of the commitment of the government to provide the necessary resources to advance local government. We believe in local government. We know that local government is the best form of governance at the local level. I urge the people of St. Thomas to accept the changes that are being made to strengthen local government. Let us move forward with one determination, one voice, and that is to advance prosperity with the hope of making lives better for every man and every woman in the parish of St. Thomas. I thank you.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, the Minister of Local Government and Community Development. And listen, he spoke on something that is very, very important. We are in now the middle of the Atlantic hurricane season. It is better to be prepared. And once the hurricane season comes on, if there is a natural disaster, of course, the Ministry of Local Government is put immediately into play, but it is best to be prepared. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, you'd hear some people shouting. It's because the Speaker of the House of Representatives and former Member of Parliament somewhere around these parts, right? Mr. Pernell Charles Sr. is here. So now, just before you hear from Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, we're on a very, very important piece of property, the former Goodyear factory. And as Minister Green mentioned, for those of us who are a little more mature, we remember the days when this was the premier center for manufacturing in Jamaica, providing hundreds of jobs. Well, the Factories Corporation has big plans, not just for this property, but certainly for Morant Bay and its environs. So may I welcome at this time, and please put your hands together for him, the chairman of the Factories Corporation of Jamaica, Mr. Littleton Tanny Shirley.
Honorable Prime Minister, we have been greeted this evening with recognizing all the dignitaries. But may I request that I flip and recognize all the VIP persons that are from St. Thomas, the people of St. Thomas. We welcome you. You are the real VIP here tonight. Because what I am about to present to you will be for you in response to your cry. Today, I must say, is a good year for Goodyear. This is the day that the Lord have made. Let us rejoice in it. We are about to present to you a new dawn, a new vision, a new hope for your children. We have listened to you. I was mandated by the Honorable Prime Minister to visit St. Thomas and Morant Bay and come back to him with an innovative concept to make a difference for job creation and investment in this parish. We sat with him on many occasions. In fact, it was a pleasure knowing that he had other disciplines away from political savviness. He had a foresight for design and building. And he allowed us, with the help of Jamaica's #1 architect who is here, Brian Morris, to create a vision for you for a new town. One that will see all the cries that you have been asking for and saying to yourself, why can't we have a good courthouse? Why can't we have a good municipality building? Why can't we have a proper university? We have 6 high schools. Why can't we have a good tax collection system place for our people? And the many other government agencies that you would want to make a one-stop business to make government become more efficient. And to cut it short, we have answered your cry, and tonight I say cry no more. This is action time. We are going to transform a space that you will never imagine, and it's going to be the cutting edge and the mother of all new urban development in Jamaica. So I'm going to ask you, please, bear with me as I ask you to pay attention as I take you through a journey of the new urban development. Thank you very much.
Factories Corporation of Jamaica. Our business is providing.
Please turn your attention to the monitors that are in the tent at this time.
Solutions for a variety of industries such as light manufacturing, agro-processing, warehousing, and business process outsourcing. Factories Corporation of Jamaica has over 100 facilities island-wide, strategically situated to meet your needs. Factories Corporation of Jamaica, supporting economic growth and job creation. The Morant Bay Urban Center, an integrated industrial and commercial complex, what is even understood as a one-stop shop, which will see the amalgamation of the services provided by the Government of Jamaica in addition to services offered by the private sector. The Morant Bay Urban Center will be a transformational change for social order. It is secured from the main road by 3 security features: a fence, a berm, and a pond. In addition to that, the urban center will have a 2-floor security tower manned by security personnel, CCTV with audio and visual capabilities, an access-controlled system monitored remotely by Factories Corporation's maintenance office, the security tower, and the police post. A new perspective of urban centers where security is led by the state. The Morant Bay Urban Center will have 2 entrances. One exclusively for service vehicles accessing the industrial and light manufacturing area, as well as the bus park, while this is the main entrance, leading you along Paul Bogle Boulevard to one of the focal points of the development, the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation Building. Adjacent to the municipal building is the Town Hall, supporting the services of the municipality. In addition to the town hall, there will be conferencing facilities complemented by a courtyard. From the municipal building to the commercial retail complex, the redevelopment of the existing structure, which will host a range of commercial businesses, a museum to be known as the Paul Bogle Hall, highlighting the rich cultural history of St. Thomas, financial institutions, a food court as well as facilities for formal dining, a sports bar, and a gaming lounge. Most importantly, BPO facilities. There are 2 BPO facilities, totaling approximately 80,000 square feet, which will employ some 3,000 persons working on a 2-shift system. There is also the capacity for the expansion of the BPO space by an additional 80,000 square feet to employ a further 3,000 individuals. This will be located in the green space reserved for development. Also supporting the complex, in particular the BPO with its large employment base, is a medical center, a wellness center, a library, and a daycare facility. From the commercial complex, the facility allows easy flow to the area known as Justice Square, facilitating a host of government services. Prominent among them is a courthouse, which will house the family court and the parish court. The courthouse leads you to a full-service tax office, the Registrar General Department, supported by a chapel, and the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency PICA, which supports the emerging concept of linking government services for greater efficiency and client satisfaction. Additionally, Justice Square will be supported by a police post with personnel to serve the courts as well as provide security services to the urban center. From Justice Square, we flow easily to the Heart Trust NTA, which will support continuous training for youth development and job placement for the important BPO sector and other businesses. The industrial zone will allow easy access to agro-processing, light manufacturing and warehousing with varying square footage of space to support small, medium and large enterprises. Adjacent to the industrial zone is the well-conceptualized space for higher education, such as a maritime university to support the expected demand for maritime services and other technical skill set services, as would be expected from a University of Technology or a University of the West Indies. Not to be left out is the SME zone to support young entrepreneurs while hosting a range of space to facilitate small and medium-sized businesses and to include rentable office space and a feed store supporting the agricultural nature of the parish. Finally, the complex is intentionally anchored by a major financial institution along with 2 major fast food establishments, each with their own drive-through to meet the varying demands of its users. Supporting the overall facility is a heritage park which speaks to the rich culture and heritage of Morant Bay and, by extension, St. Thomas. The park will incorporate a recreational area, a jogging heritage trail, and an amphitheater for cultural and educational events. As part of the design for the urban center, the aim is to reduce significantly the cost to do business through the deployment of green technologies. The urban center has access to multiple wells, which will be upgraded to provide potable water for the use by businesses and their clients and for landscaping. An integrated water harvesting system, which includes the use of the ponds, will be employed to supplement the water source for firefighting and landscaping and ultimately reduce the strain on the drainage system and minimize flooding. The cost of energy is also significant to the development and growth of businesses. The aim, therefore, is to reduce the high cost of energy by installing wind turbines and PV systems to supplement the energy requirements of the urban center. It is anticipated that this will result in a possible saving of 60%. The facility will have over 505 parking spaces and will include those reserved for the municipal corporation, the courts, as well as metered parking. Construction of this development is projected to cost approximately $4 billion for a total of 365,000 square feet of space. Of the 365,000 square feet, the existing Goodyear footprint covers 130,000 square feet. 230,000 square feet of new building space will cover the municipal building, Justice Square, and the industrial and light manufacturing zone. The Morant Bay Urban Center, fulfilling the mandate of Factories Corporation of Jamaica to achieve the Government of Jamaica's economic growth and job creation agenda by providing industrial and commercial space for a variety of industries. A game changer for the town of Morant Bay, the parish of St. Thomas, and a blueprint for future urban development.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, those are the plans as outlined. And now to address you, the parish of great people, the parish of Paul Bogle, may I invite to speak with you, Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Let me start that one here. Like how Martin Luther King would have started. My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream. Tell you my dream is to live my dream. Hear the most I in me sleep when me sleep. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. All of my goal is to reach my goal. Live a happy life, put it on me headstone. Nobody no fi cry over me dead. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh, oh, look at me now, oh, look at me now, oh, look at me now. I mean, I tell you my life, where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely.
You know, I think that this is one of the best songs ever made in Jamaica. It's a song of hope, of overcoming, of optimism. It's a song about not being afraid of having dreams, to dream big, and to have faith that God has a plan for all of us. Allow me to generally recognize the visiting dignitaries and to warmly recognize you, as Chairman Shirley said, the real VIPs, the people of the parish of St. Thomas. I take special pride in noting that this town hall meeting has representatives from both political parties and both levels of government. And I would clap loudly for that. Because what we are about to discuss is truly the nation's business, the business of the parish, and it really should not matter if it is central government or local government or PNP or JLP. We are here about the people's business. In my election campaign, I committed to a partnership for prosperity, to build real partnerships. And those partnerships stretch from a partnership with the church, a partnership with the business community, a partnership with law enforcement and justice, a partnership with the people of the towns and communities of this country, a partnership to change the narrative from one of pessimism and negative thinking to one of possibilities, of hope, of prosperity, a partnership with the blessing of God that we, the people of Jamaica, a mighty race, can achieve what we will. During the campaign, I came to this parish in a similar but less comfortable circumstance, but equally packed hall. And we discussed there the challenges facing the parish. And I made certain commitments. Some of you would have been there and would have heard me make the commitment to pay attention to this parish. The history of this parish is that more than 150 years ago, after the abolition of slavery, it was in this parish that the fight, and I call it that because that's what it came down to, for a change in the living condition of the previously freed enslaved, for a change, led by Paul Bogle, it ended up that he had to give his life, along with others, including George William Gordon. 150 years ago, or 152. The parish, this parish, paid the ultimate price. Because when the rest of the country got attention and investment, this parish somehow was overlooked. And the parish lagged behind for many decades and still lagged behind in many respects. Certainly, the development of the urban center for the parish has lagged behind. This parish has certain assets that need to be utilized. The strategy of the government is that we believe in full asset utilization. We are not poor because we are unambitious or because some curse has been placed on us. We are poor because sometimes, indeed, most of the time, the situation is that we have not sought to utilize the God-given assets that are right in front of us. We are poor because sometimes we are afraid to dream and to believe that we can be better than we are. Sometimes we are trapped in accepting what we see in front of us. And some of us are sometimes very critical when someone comes to say, I don't see things as they are. I see things for what they could be. And I know that you have had many promises before. In fact, at this location, in the building right next to us, many promises have been made about what can be done with the building. Indeed, Dr. Ferguson, you will recall that the government of Jamaica in the 90s and early 2000s actually spent a significant amount of money on repairing and refurbishing the factory. Nothing came of it. But that is not reason for us not to go again. It's not a reason not to go again. We have learned from the lessons, and we have a better understanding of what government needs to do to drive economic growth and job creation. The first thing that we have to do in driving the growth and development of your parish is, in fact, what is the cliche term? The road to development starts with a road. On my way here, a trailer blocked the way. I almost didn't make it. The number of winding roads that we have to travel to get here, the deep corners and steep climbs, doesn't necessarily make it easy for traffic to flow. And so if you want to get the economy turning, you need to, first of all, move traffic into the area. And that means you have to fix the road. And so there is the plan. Plan has always been on the books. The previous government moved it one step further in negotiating with China. And my government is following through, moving it even further. So you would have heard you would have heard about the plans for the road, which would include the creation of a dual carriage highway, the repair, resurfacing, and eliminating some of those deep bends and steep climbs, so you have an easier flow. And then we made some modification to include some of the other local roads, for example, the Cedar Valley Road, and to carry the prosperity, if you will, right around St. Thomas and into parts of Portland. So we thought that making those adjustments were fairer, more equitable. And I believe that that in itself, just that one move alone, is going to start the uptick in economic activity in the parish. But if I'm going to spend all of that money on just the road and moving people, then the next question is, what are people coming here to do? So we have to build other things along with the road. And, you know, I don't take the view that St. Thomas should be the forgotten parish. People live here, and the people live here would like to conduct their business in efficient, safe, and secure circumstances, not so? So when I toured your town capital here, and believe me, I've toured I doubt there is an inch of Jamaica I have not walked on. The amount of Clark shoes I changed to reach to this podium. And you know, Clark shoes not done so easily. But I walked your market, and I walked the back streets, and I walked your town center. And I'm sure everybody here will agree, it is chaotic. The town wasn't planned for the level of activity that is in there. And we can't leave it like that. If we're talking about development, then you have to have the vision of creating modern facilities for the people. Yes. And so we looked at the town, and we looked at this significant asset, 25 acres with a building, that has been just laying here for years, not being used. And we say, how can we develop this asset and at the same time develop the town? That's the strategy. How do we utilize this asset so when people get on the road, they have somewhere to come, something to do? And the people who live here can utilize the asset as well. So the idea was born about redeveloping the town center and placing all the critical services in a well-planned, purpose-built facility. So you saw the presentation. I don't need to go through all the amenities and the facilities that will be there. But it will be a true town center. It will have facilities for the municipal authority. It will have facility for justice, for law enforcement, for banking, for shopping and economic activity, for education and training, and for general public service delivery. Now, that is the start of the economic engine. That is where the economic engine will be located. We are hoping that we will pull people out of the old town into the new town, where your economic activities can be orderly and more efficient. But then, parallel, I was listening to your presentation, Dr. Ferguson. In parallel, and we have already started, we want to declare the town a heritage site and preserve all the historic buildings that are there, including the church, which is over 350 years old. Preserve whatever buildings that may be there that are of historical and architectural interest. And start to create the nucleus now of a tourism industry. Let me tell you, you would be surprised. Already, we have 2 serious prospects who want to develop a tourist resort in St. Thomas. But let me say to you that the model of tourism that Jamaica started and introduced to the world, the all-inclusive, that model has reached its limit in terms of how it can generate growth. The model that even people who are into all-inclusive would want is that, yes, the tourists can come, they will stay in a resort, but at some point they want their tourists to go out of the resorts, to come and experience the true culture, so they need things for the tourists to come and see. Now they would have the historic old town and the new town. The two don't have to collide as they do now in, for example, Ocho Rios, where the normal everyday activity of the town makes it very difficult for the town itself to be a true tourist attraction. But that is the exact case for another town, Falmouth, another beautiful historic town with great architecture of the Georgian flavor. But the town, because it also has to carry the day-to-day load of citizens using it, it literally stifles the amazing tourist opportunity that is there. So we are learning from the errors that have been made, not making them here. So this is literally now virgin territory for the development of new industries. I'm going to say a little bit more about Falmouth and the plans for that town. But before, I heard, I hate to say young Floyd Green because that's how they talk about me. But I'm getting older. But I heard Floyd Green and Member of Parliament Robertson speak about the young people and the need for jobs. Our commitment to create jobs is a serious commitment. You know, I am not a prime minister of announcement. I try not to do too much, but it's almost unavoidable because the nature of our government is that we have to consult, we have to advise, we have to inform, and therefore it means I have to come here and tell you what I am doing. But I like to tell, you know, my greatest pride is to tell you when I've done it. So it gives me great pride to say that between April last year and March this year, we have created 4,000 new jobs in the BPO sector. 4,000 new jobs. And those would mostly be jobs for young people. September coming, with the Port Authority's development of new facilities in Montego Bay, 2,000 new jobs will be created. This is not if, but, or maybe. 2,000 new jobs will be created. By the first quarter of next year, I am told that we will be somewhere close to 5,000 new jobs with the facility we are doing in Portmore. I happen to know, and this is just what the government is doing and what we are certain of will be the take-up with jobs. But the private sector has several other projects going on. And when I did a little totting up of what they are doing, by the first quarter of next year, we are looking at close to another 7,000 new jobs. So I want you to see the picture that the government is working, working, working. and these are verifiable statistics. As it relates to what will happen here, we have already started to promote the space that is available here for BPO operations. And we have had interest. I can't tell you that we have signed any contracts, but this is how the process is. People are going to want to see the space built first. They're going to want to do the investigation to see whether or not there is the actual population to provide the labor pool, which I know, based upon the high schools that you have and how this parish has improved in its literacy and educational performance, that you have that surplus labor here that could easily be absorbed into the BP operation. But you know what else you have? And I almost don't want to talk about it, but I think you should be commended that this parish so far has only had 10 murders in the year. Too many. But compared to other parishes, this parish is doing very well. And I want you to take pride in that and keep that crime rate and that murder rate down. When you see the criminals start to come here because of the development, run them. Don't take them into your house and take them on as new boyfriend and new girlfriend. Run them. Make sure that your parish remains safe and secure, because that is going to be one of the greatest attractions for investors to come here. I heard the Member of Parliament for Eastern St. Thomas talk about Bowden. The Port Authority, which falls directly under my oversight, has plans for Bowden as part of the general development of the parish. This parish has another potential industry which we haven't spoken about yet, and I heard the Member of Parliament for Western St. Thomas talk about it: limestone, aggregate, and other minerals. The parish can become a major player in the mining industry. But when we build a road, as I'm talking, you hear one of the heavy trucks passing. When we build a road, we have to provide, as my good friend Minister Mike Henry would say, a multimodal transportation system to give an alternative to haulage on the road. So Bowden is going to be developed as a bulk port to move aggregate, limestone, and other minerals to ease the pressure of the road so that the road lasts a little longer. So, I'm here tonight to say to you, the people of St. Thomas, who have gathered here in your numbers, and this is a huge crowd, that things are happening for your parish. That I take a special interest in ensuring that your parish is, it's almost like reparations. That for the 150 years of neglect, that the government recognizes that you are an important asset that must be developed. And we are starting it with bringing in your road and developing a new town center right here. One more thing that is being developed as we speak. As I drive along the main entrance into this parish, I see the conditions of the housing situation. And so I've directed the Housing Agency, the NHT, and the Minister without portfolio with responsibility for housing to identify all the lands in this area. And I don't like talk about it, because as I talk about it, the land price, them just go. So, one reason why you want to keep those things quiet until. But the truth is that we have to know, for more reasons than one, yes, there is the squatting issue. Because people can't find land, they ended up having to squat. And those of you who know about the Morant Bay Rebellion know that the genesis, the reason for it is actually a land squatting issue, which caused a rebellion against the state, which ended up forming the JCF to defend the then colonial state against the people. So from then we have had this conflict between the citizen and the state. Well, I'm here to tell you that that conflict don't exist anymore, because the state that I am running is your state. I come from you, and I am trying to build your state that you are a part of, so you have no need to rebel against Jamaica. But we have to deal with the housing situation, not only because of the squatting and the historical injustices that are associated with that, but there is also something called climate change. And most of the living in this parish is along the coast. If it is not hurricane, it's sea level rise, it is unpredictable weather events, it is epiphenomenal weather events. And these create the need for us to plan our infrastructure much better than we have. In fact, it creates the need for us to ensure that people don't build in areas that are not sustainable. And I see Peter Knight here from NEPA nodding his head, it almost drop off. Because we have just allowed people to build anywhere because we have not had a true development plan. So effectively what we have said to the housing development agencies is to put in place a development plan to catch up with how fast people want house, so that them don't have to go and build on a hillside or close to the sea or on marginal lands, but on lands that are properly developed with infrastructure and services. So that is now the mandate. They are looking into that. It means that we may have to acquire some lands. There are lands here that we own. Housing projects will start here shortly. In closing, we are not just looking at St. Thomas. The plan is that we're going to look at all the parish capitals and see to a similar development strategy. The next one is Falmouth. And I've given directions to the UDC, Dr. Damien Graham is here, that we should now start the development of lands adjacent to the town of Falmouth, so that we can have the benefit of the historic town, but still have the commerce and enterprise and the energy that is now competing with the historic town space. So the next place that you will see me in this setting is in Falmouth, when we discuss what we're going to do for the parish of Trelawney. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an evening well spent, and I'm certain that you have questions. I want you to maintain your optimism, have hope, have faith. We will do this with the help of God and your support. God bless you. I love you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, for his comprehensive presentation here in Morant Bay, St. Thomas. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know that our listening audience may have to leave us at this time, but it is time for question and answers. And so may I invite the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, as well as the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, the Honorable Daryl Vaz, and the Honorable Floyd Green to the podium. They will sit, listen to you, respond to all your questions as we say farewell to those in our listening audience, but certainly we'll continue here at Morant Bay so that we can hear from you, the residents. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hear from you. Recall what I said earlier. There's a microphone in the middle. One question per person. There are hundreds of persons here this evening, and so we want to hear from as many persons as possible. Don't worry about whether the microphone is on. It is. Okay, you need not touch the microphone. Just approach the microphone, identify yourself, where in St. Thomas you are from, ask your question, take your seat, and whomever you ask to respond will respond. All right? We're just getting Minister Green settled as well. All right? And so here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for you. I recognize the lady at the microphone. Please, let me have your name, where you're from in St. Thomas, and your quick question. Yes, go ahead. All right, hang on. Marjorie Hamilton is the name. Marjorie Harris. All right. 1 second. Fret not, everybody. The microphone, hang on. The technical people will deal with it. Don't worry. The technical people are dealing with it. Miss Harris, go ahead. Don't worry about it. Let me come and help you. Is it on? All right, go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying Marjorie Harris is the name and I'm from License. I have read through this brochure thing that I'm holding in my hand. I am not so much surprised because this idea was discussed with the Member of Parliament, so I am happy for it. But one thing, having read through it, I have not seen where you have a skills training center in all of your planning here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hold on. She's asking a question. Any one of our ministers or Prime Minister would be able to clarify or respond to her. So remember now, we have to listen to hear and understand, all right? So thank you so much, Marjorie. We'll have Minister Green, I believe you spoke to training, so you may be able to respond.
Yes, thank you for the question. Of course, skills training has to be an important part of what we're going to be doing here. So the Heart Trust is actually going to be a part of the new center because as the Prime Minister has said, with the investment, we have to have the skills. So there's going to be a brand new Heart Trust building NTA right here.
All right, thank you so much, Minister Green. May I ask the next person to ask his question?
Okay, my name is Maurice Kildare. I'm from Duckenfield, Eastern St. Thomas. I have a question for the Minister of Local Government, but it's a very long question. I do not want to take up the time, so
let's make it a very short question. Recall, we all agreed earlier.
I have the question right here in my envelope, and I'm going to deliver it to the Minister right now.
Yeah.
So I am assuming that you don't want the answer tonight. Okay, sir.
All right, sir. Our next person to ask a question.
Okay, good evening. My name is Marine Deloris Reed Tumazelli. My name is Marine Reed Tumazelli. I represent a German company in Jamaica. I speak German and Italian. I'm a tour guide. I do language guide here. I live in St. Thomas, New Pier District to be exact. My question for the Honorable Andrew Michael Holiness is, I see the project is very wonderful. in all of this, I travel back and forth from Montego Bay to St. Thomas, but when I come here in St. Thomas at night, I am left to go to the Princess Margaret Hospital to take my hotel space because there's no facilities available to accommodate young people where we can sleep at night for even $1,500 per night. That is one thing. Second, to begin with, there's no transportation system. After 5 p.m. in Morant Bay, everything is closed and there's no transportation system to connect you to anywhere. So my question is, are there going to be something to improve with the transportation, and is there going to be some accommodation facility in all this plan? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Before we get a response to the question, ladies and gentlemen, all right, kind people of St. Thomas, remember we spoke about this earlier, so that our presenters can hear and respond comprehensively. You have to be quiet so everybody can hear. I beg you.
Well, firstly,
Prime Minister?
Firstly, let me check.
Right,
Firstly, let me commend you for learning 2 languages. I think it's very important, and it is indeed an example to our young people that having languages makes you more employable. Now, you have raised issues which are pertinent to this project, and indeed explains the reasons why we have to do this project. The truth is that the town does not have the amenities. So you are saying there is no hotel or guest house. You are saying that the town shuts down at 5 p.m. You are saying that there is no transportation system. But importantly, you are drawing a parallel between this town and Montego Bay. The people who live in the town don't seem to share your view, but we understand your sentiment that you want to see greater development in the town. This project will start that development, because once it is that you have this kind of organized, planned urban space, you're going to find more people using it for longer hours, which will create more opportunities for taxis and buses, and hopefully you will also see some entrepreneurs coming in and building hotels and restaurants and gaming lounges and all the facilities and amenities which would characterize a booming town. So importantly, the government is not going to build any hotel, any restaurant or anything like that. What the government is going to do is provide the safety and security, the infrastructure, and provide the regulatory environment where all of these things can happen. So in short, all that you have asked for will occur when this project starts.
All right, thank you so much, Prime Minister. Just so that I understand, is everybody hearing well? One more time, is everybody hearing well? Good, that means when there is somebody giving a response, you have to be quiet, right? So let me hear again, so that when you answer, there's almost silence. Is everybody hearing well? Good job. It means that we need to listen, so we hear the question and the response as well. Sir, your question.
A pleasant good evening to everyone. My name is Clifton Lanus. I'm from the Yallas community on top of the hill, Newland, Backland, Loudon Hill. It might not have anything to do with what you are doing here or saying here tonight, but this is a burning concern for the resident of the Newland era of Yallas for the past 10 years. And let me say this before I say the 10 years. Whenever there's a water problem in the parish, anywhere in Jamaica, for more than 2 days, there's chaos, there's demonstration, there's all kind of issue. We have not have water in running water in that community for the past 10 years. And many government, different government entity has come by and gone, and they cannot address our problem of water. And if you look on the road coming from anywhere, even right now in Yallas, Yallas is known as a catchment area. That after 2 or 3 weeks of rain, we have spring coming out from all area. Right now you go to Yallas, there's a pretty water there. And we can't get any water. Nobody can address our situation because we cannot get water. And water is, we are living on top of water. We need you, Mr. Prime Minister, to address that problem for me, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, the Member of Parliament will say something. Hold on, Mr. Robertson.
What we have in West St. Thomas and many places of East St. Thomas, we have old pumps, old wells, and old systems. What we require is when you look at the water bill, there's a little place on it that it speaks about a K factor. That K factor budget needs to be used to save energy by using more efficient pumps, putting in new pipes. Because where Mr. Lenos is speaking about a quarter mile above that area, just to the west, are huge storage tanks that are not being used. The solution is simply this. Our wells must be refurbished, new efficient pumps put in place, and the pipes changed. The K factor on our water bills need to be used for improvements on our water supply systems. We have made representation time and time again, but the time has come. On a positive note, the Seaforth area is in this year's budget for our K factor project. And I am very sure that that one will be done. But we have 4 others that are just as critical, because if one human being does not have good, safe water, he's at danger, or she's at danger. Thank you.
I want to thank you, James, for that intervention. And I'm going to also ask you, as the representative for the area, to come and sit with me with that specific issue that was raised by Mr. Linus. There is a small budget for the repair and refurbishing of water storage tanks. I am going to look at that budget to see whether or not the water tanks that you have mentioned, which are in proximity to the problem, is on the list. If not, to get it on the list so that there can be some even interim or temporary solution to bring water. So, MP Robertson, please come and see me. We'll talk about that.
All right, thank you so much, Prime Minister. We'll have our next question. Just before that, the person at the back of the line for the questions, could you just raise your hand for me? All right, that is the last person, the man in blue. That's the last question we will take. Now, earlier I committed, hold on. For those who have questions after him, if not, we're going to be here all night. If you have questions, find me. Give me your question, and I will undertake to ensure that a response is given either to your representative or posted somewhere online so that you can get your response. So the man in blue becomes the final question asker. He's not at the back? Who is at the back? 5 more people behind. Okay, the Prime Minister and the others will avail themselves to that last person in the line. All right? Sir, your question.
Good night, Mr. Prime Minister. Good night, everybody in St. Thomas. I'm representative. My name is Rowan Brown. I'm from the community of Lyson. My hope for Jamaica is the same hope you're having. Give thanks for the platform that you're creating for St. Thomas, as it's been long coming, and we established that right now. I could reiterate everything you said tonight, but against that, we haven't heard about our entertainment. Now, I'm an artist, right? Yes, prophecy from the East. Now, as an artist, we understand the cultural diversity in Jamaica, wearing the Rebel Salute and whatever and all of that. Our long gone East West has gone. I myself has taken the initiative for the last 3 years to put a a legitimate foundation together, where now we're doing our second year annual of the Reggae Live Jamaica Music Festival, which brand Jamaica with the Hope for Jamaica, Hope for St. Thomas, economical development, job creation, and stuff like that. Now, I don't want to spend the whole night, but what I want to do is to understand our government, that we can really relate to each other, that the government understand what we're doing. This year's staging of the festival is in Goodyear Oval, next door, the factory oval that has been developed. So we want to clap the factory oval again for that. And this as a part project support the whole, you know what I mean, conglomerate of St. Thomas. Now, I and my team just want to find ways to find you to negotiate your ministry, you understand me? Because we are nobody without you and you are nobody without us. So we say tonight that we want to engage you, the business sector of St. Thomas, which we are doing, and we just want to find that way. So we're just making St. Thomas aware and the public that we have a reggae festival in St. Thomas that needed support. So we're asking you if there's any funding or any way you could turn us to, then we would definitely give thanks and appreciation.
Thank you.
You know, music is a way of life and it's something that we all should participate in. What you have just outlined is something of importance. I will certainly engage you after this and have further discussions with you and engage the Minister of Culture, Minister Grange, in that endeavor, because I think that is something we need to support and support it as best as possible. Okay?
Thank you so much. Man in the brown shirt, good evening. Your question, please.
Good evening, Honorable Prime Minister, all visitors, everybody here. I'm from Yalas, and as a resident of Yalas, I just like to endorse everything that Mr. Lenworth just said. However, I just want to also commend you, Prime Minister, for being the first Prime Minister to do something meaningful in St. Thomas. And I'd also like to commend the representatives from both political parties, Mr. James Robertson and Mr. Fenton Ferguson, for the good relationship that they have. And I want the supporters of both parties to look at that and know that this is how we must live and put an end to political victimization and violence. Okay, I also want to thank the Prime Minister for this urban center, Morant Urban Center that is about to be built, and we really appreciate it. But what I would like to see, you said earlier, Mr. Holness, that people are poor because they don't make use of the resources available to them. But I'd also like to add that people are poor because they lack education, which is necessary to utilize resources available to you. And therefore, what I would like to see is an expansion in the educational provision at this urban center to not only provide maritime education, but also education in any subject area that people need, especially business. Because since you will be providing jobs, people are going to need to be trained to be able to fulfill those jobs from St. Thomas here.
Thank you so much.
We don't want people coming from Kingston to get those jobs because the people here are not qualified.
Thank
so
you
I'd
so
like
much.
to see not only a maritime university, but
Yes.
a general university that offer all different subject areas.
All right, thank you so much, sir. All right, our next question. Question, please, and very brief.
Thank you, madam. My name is David Forrester. I'm a resident of West Albion in Yalas. My question is this. With Vision 2030 in mind, in regard to this center, do we have a group of young aspirants from this parish who is a part of this planning committee in relation to this development? One. And quickly another question. This is for the Minister, Mr. McKenzie. What timeline are we looking at as it relates to starting and completion of all these projects that we have?
Thank you so much. All right, so the Prime Minister is just waiting through. The NWA, Stephen Shaw is here from NWA.
Well,
yes.
In terms of the planning and the engagement of the community, I'm going to allow the Factories Corporation to give you an overview of what they have done. I know that they have been engaging residents. They have gone on a listening tour. And in terms, and they will also tell you the projected start time of this project. And I'm going to ask the representative from the NWA to tell you the projected start time for the road work, which I gather was done earlier.
All right, so Mr. Tani Shirley, please.
First, let me thank you for a very important question. We anticipate that the project will start sometime in the end of this year. We also anticipate that it will be a 2-year construction period. And therefore, I heard a question before about another university. There are 2 institutions that is in the development, one for Maritime and one for General University. So all that will be part of the development.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shirley. Stephen Shaw.
As it relates to the South Coast Highway, there are a number of things that we have to get out of the way. As I mentioned earlier, that the EIA has been done. We are going to be making a public presentation shortly.
I'm sorry, Stephen, just to ensure, EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment
Study. That was done. It is a precursor to us, or a requirement for us getting access to the money that is in place. We are doing the cabinet submission as it relates to land acquisition.
Everybody will see what I'm talking about. There is a water at Poorman's Corner that comes there every time rain falls. I want to ask Mr. Shaw to answer what is being done or planned to clear that water.
Thank you so much, sir. So that's your one question. No.
There is
see me
also,
later.
please,
Sir,
please,
hold on, sir. I'm the moderator. Yeah. Just listen for a second. We've already agreed, even before now. Just see me, and I will ensure you get a response to your next question. We have hundreds of people here. One question per person. Thank you, sir. You may sit, and Mr. Shaw will respond. Thank you.
The solution, sir, will come as part of the S-chip. But I want to point you to the issue, or what caused it.
South Coast Highway.
Landowner.
Those acronyms.
Don't use the acronyms.
Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Program. That is the acronym S-chip. Now, if you look at the area carefully, you will notice that the natural drainage feature that's there has been deliberately blocked. It's a problem that we have right here in this parish. People block drains for selfish reasons, and that is something that we must deal with as a people. That is part of the problem.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is George Ross.
Hello, George.
George Ross. I have for about 10 years, I built a guest house right down there by the dump. As a matter of fact, I was living in another country. And we were caught, we get a pamphlet, a book, that asks us to come home and help to build our country. I was so naive. I pack up money and I send it to Jamaica. Let's build out a guest house. I have a guest house right down there, fully furnished. Fully furnished. Promise promised, minister come to it, look at it. This is one of the best small guest house I ever seen. Now, it's right down there. The dump is now covered over like this. You could see it on the road. I could employ 8 people over 10 years and maybe improve on the building to make more, right? It's been covered by the dump. The minister over there promised me, I have a piece in the newspaper, here is hopes come to die.
All right, so
Right?
George.
Right.
So we have now the minister who the National Solid Waste Management Authority falls under. He can respond. So give him a chance, and then we'll see how best things can go forward.
One moment.
We all agreed. One question per person.
Yes,
Yes, you
yes,
can.
I will speak to you after the meeting and we can talk about it and let us see what can be done, okay?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your question, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Patricia Greenleaf. I'm from Cedar Valley.
Hello, Miss Cedar Valley.
Cedar Valley.
Yes.
And the whole people I'm in Cedar Valley. The post office is moved. The health center is there. We don't have a doctor. We don't have a nurse. And whenever time, we are a farming community. And whenever time anybody get a little cut, we have to go to Morant Bay at Princess Margaret. And if you go there, them say go back to Trinityville. And it takes us a lot of money, especially in the night, to reach to Princess Margaret. So I don't know if it's the local government response to post office. And the health center, I'm asking for the health center, even one doctor per month, because the whole people them have to travel too far. So I'm asking, please, the health center and the post office.
Thank you so much, Ms. Greenleaf. Minister Vaz?
Yes, the Minister of Health is not here, and neither is any representative. I will ask the moderator to get information from you, and I will undertake to deal with it through the Ministry of Health and give you a response in short order.
Thank you
Both
so
on the post office and also on the health center.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Ma'am, your question, please.
Good evening, everyone. My
Hi.
name is Marcia Brown.
Good evening, Marcia.
The river. River, when will we get proper river training?
When will we
From
get proper?
Seaford-
The Seaford?
Seaford to behind here.
Okay. All right.
Not
River
here,
training.
That way, river training.
Okay, wonderful.
From Seaford Bridge to down this side.
All right, Minister Vaz will respond.
Let me
Thank
just
you.
indicate that river training is a national problem. It is the responsibility of the National Works Agency, but unfortunately the budget that it requires has never been able to be provided. Now that we have climate change, which is not coming, it is here, I am in discussion with the climate change department of the ministry, who in conjunction with the National Works Agency, to see if we can get some funding through the Climate Change Fund, which are international funds and grants and loans, to see how we can address the river training. But as a rural MP, I understand fully what you're saying, and I see the erosion and the damage and the danger that it poses to life and property. So it is something that the government is actively looking at to see how we can get some funding to deal with river training. So I can't give you a definitive answer, only to say that the government of Jamaica is fully aware of the importance and the need for river training along with other measures.
All right. Thank you so much, Minister. Ma'am, your question, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Pauline Ellington from Retreat. First of all, I'd like to say that being here this evening, I feel like I am at a very signal point in the history and development of St. Thomas, and I'm really happy to be here. I have a concern. Earlier on, when Mr. Stephen Shaw was speaking, he mentioned that the South Coast Highway from Negril to Ocho Rios and from Ocho Rios to Port Antonio has been completed. And so the other leg now from Harborview to Port Antonio, this side, is being done. My concern is, will this portion be of the same standard and quality and integrity as the portion that has already been done? Because in my mind, it's like a circle. And if 3/4 have been done to a certain standard, integrity, and status, the other part that joined the circle should be of similar integrity.
Thank you so much. All right. Stephen?
Yes, you can rest assured, Madam, that the quality will not be less. If anything, it will be better because we have learned from the past.
Thank you so much. Ma'am, your question?
Good night, heads of government. This question is to Mr. Desmond McKenzie. I am a vendor in Morant Bay. I sell on the street. And I want to know how early I can get the market, that I can go into the market, that the Metropolitan Police stop perplex me.
All right, thank you.
In response to your question, the funds to carry out the repairs to the market will be made available in the month of August. But I'm going to ask you and your fellow colleagues on the road to cooperate with the municipal corporation to ensure that we can provide proper service and that vending does not really create unnecessary problems for persons on the streets. We understand the difficulties, we are working towards it, and the funds will be made available by the middle of August. Okay?
Thank you so much. Sir, your question, please.
Yes. Let me just say, my name is Rupert Scott, President of the Lay Magistrates Association of Jamaica for the St. Thomas chapter. First of all, let me commend you, Mr. Prime Minister, and the new developments for St. Thomas, you and your team. My concern is, as it relates to Justice Center, we are desperately in need of a mediation center, a restorative justice center for the parish of St. Thomas, because as you know, the whole question of the backlog of cases in the court and all of that. So we are asking if this area, Justice Center, would accommodate all of this, as we are really and truly and desperately in need of these facilities for the parish of St. Thomas.
Thank you so much, Mr. Scott. Prime Minister, you had something earlier today about that.
Well, you know, earlier today we opened 2 restorative justice centers, one in Denham Town, the other in Tivoli Gardens. I know that the Minister of Justice has plans to roll them out island-wide, so I'm certain that the parish of St. Thomas will have a few, and specifically the development that will happen right here will have within your own justice center a restorative justice center.
Thank you so much, sir. Your question?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Antonio Porter. I am the president of the Hillside CDC and the CEO of Reggae Falls. Now, Minister McKenzie, you would have been aware of the road going in that area, that it has been damaged and is in a bad state. And I'm asking you to try and do something as quickly as possible, because it is impacting on the development of the ecotourism project that we are doing there right now.
When I visited the road a couple weeks ago, I gave a commitment to undertake to repair the roads. Once I am in possession of the estimates and the funds are available, it will be done. It will be done before the end of the year. I promise you that. It will be done by September.
Thank you so much, sir. Ma'am, your question.
Good night. I am Rosalie Small.
Good morning. Good evening, Ms. Small.
Dignitary persons up there. My question is, I've been going to Happy Grove School for quite some years now, and all the crossing has been a sore place for when flooding comes on at times, and also Port Morant. My question is to Mr. Shaw, is there a bridging system that you will bring in place eventually for those areas that flooding always take place and give problems?
Thank you so much. Sure.
in doing the design for this Southern Coastal Highway, we are taking into consideration, and we have taken into consideration all those issues. So you will have a more reliable corridor when the project is finished.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Yes, ma'am, your question?
A pleasant evening, everyone. My name is Anastasia Goldburn. I'm from Duhaney Pen, just around the corner. My question is directed to Mr. Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Seeing that you've mentioned that there has been an increase in our literacy and numeracy rate, the question is, will the people of St. Thomas be involved in the rebuilding of this urban center? We hope that many times we have, when big developments are being made, that we take people from other parishes to rebuild our own. And my statement is, this development is for us in St. Thomas, a well-deserved development. And my hope is that each and every one of us in St. Thomas be a part of this development, Mr. Prime Minister, because it is ours. We have painters, we have architects, we have everyone that is needed to build this urban center. And I hope, Mr. Prime Minister, that we are not left behind and holding you accountable. As Mr. McKenzie mentioned about accountability, I am holding you accountable, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you so much.
This is our development, and we should be the ones who benefit the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Prime Minister? PM?
I mean, what is there to say?
All right. Sir? All right, hold on. Can everybody hear? Can everybody hear? Can everybody hear? Good. That means that you're quiet enough. Sir, your next question.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Prime Minister.
Good evening, sir.
This question is to Mr. James Robertson.
I'm sorry, could you identify yourself and where you're from?
This question is to Mr. James Robertson. I'm from a place that they call Penline Castle.
Yes, sir. Penline Castle. All right.
That is where all the water that we're drinking come from.
Yes.
They only dispatch from them one another, go to them one another. All of the pan them come out.
Yes.
And Mr. James Robertson, me born in the head of the water, so me can't get none to drink.
All right, so Mr. Robertson is coming. Hold on, Sir. Mr. Robertson is coming to respond, all right? So give somebody else a chance. Thank you so much. Mr. Robertson will respond.
There are two notes tonight, and there are two angles to my friend's question. And I'm going to take the very light one first. Can you believe that I sent a vehicle all the way for Duppy to come here to take me on? Anyway, my friend, on a serious note now, I'm sitting with a gentleman behind me who is from Rural Water, and that project, which brought water from the hills into Penline and Epping Farm and into Hagley's Gap also, was poorly constructed. We have pipes that with the fires in recent times have been burnt. The plastic pipes were put in. They have to be replaced. So I am very, very assured by the gentleman who was sitting behind me. I have reported that to Rural Water. They're going after it. They have done a budget for it. And I promise, they have given me the commitment that that will be redone. So my friend Duppy, stop him at the back there for me. Okay, my friend. His number is in my phone and I answer. You didn't have to come this far to ask me that. So you and I speak on a daily basis.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Robertson. Sir, your question, please. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we want to be able to hear each other. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? No, that I still don't have the quietness so that everybody can hear the questions and responses. All right, good job. Thank you, sir.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just would like to commend the Prime Minister and his team for the great job that he's doing. Whilst we speak about economic growth, I am thinking, as a suggestion, could you partner with art institution during the construction to come on board and certify some persons who would be working who does not have certification, because there's a lot of persons who does not have certification, and it will be the opportunity. I'm a teacher, that's why I can speak to that. You could partner with different certification bodies to come on board during the process and to get people certified, because you don't want when a project finish, persons with the skills can have to just depend on a recommendation to go and get job, but they could have a certificate to go elsewhere and get
Thank
job.
you so much, sir. Really appreciate it. That's a good suggestion. Would someone want to add?
It's a very good suggestion, and I'm certain that the Factories Corporation will take that on board.
Thank you. Ma'am, your question.
Okay, good night, each and everyone. My name is Nariga Morgan, and I'm from Rawle District. I'd like to commend you, Mr. Prime, Honorable Prime Minister, you and your HOPE team help our people elevate. HOPE. Yes. Mr. Stephen Shaw there. Since I name Rawle, you should know what I'm coming with. Oftentimes you have seen me in the media. The Rawle Bridge, which has been put there for temporary bridge, the Bailey Bridge from 1992. Now it's become a permanent bridge. Mr. Shaw, you have been there so many times. Are you going to wait until somebody go over the bridge again? Are you going to wait until that bridge deteriorates and go away with a truck or some vehicle? I'm tired of being in the media.
All right,
I would like for you to address
so
it,
your
sir.
question is, what will happen
When?
to the bridge? Are
Yes.
they going to build a solid bridge?
That's clearly.
Okay, that's fine, ma'am.
Okay.
Stephen Shaw, your response, please. Thank you, ma'am.
We do have every intention to replace that bridge, which is a wooden Bailey bridge. It is dated, and at different times we had programmed it, but owing to budgetary constraints, we have not been able to accomplish that just yet, but we do have an intention to replace that structure.
Stephen, is that structure in any way in proximity to the South Coast Road Improvement Project?
It's a distance away, quite a distance away.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. Now, colleagues on the outside, residents on the outside, I know you've been listening and you want to hear as well, but you can't hear if you're speaking. Please, we have a few more of your colleagues and residents to ask questions, and then we'll close. We'll wrap up and close shortly. Ma'am, your question real quickly.
Good evening. I'm Shola Collins from Greenwall. I think it's very marvelous that a government could come and build on certain blueprints of another. So I'm really happy for that. I heard that the previous government had signed off the contract with China to get the highway from Kingston to Portland. My question is, will this highway attract the toll? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely not. It was never contemplated. It would not make sense based upon what we want to do. And you can only put a toll road where there is an alternative route. This is the only route really into this part of the island. There is no plan whatsoever for a toll road here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prime Minister. Sir, your question.
Pleasant good evening to everyone, Mr. Prime Minister. Pleasant good evening. My concern is this. I speak on behalf of myself and a lot of farmers in Lethal, St. Thomas. I'm from Lethal, St. Thomas. Breeding and larceny has become a major problem for us in St. Thomas. And at the present moment, there is no police vehicle in Golden Grove, there is none in Bath, and there is none in Port Morant. When there is vehicle, there is only one. They all have to share the same vehicle for each area. So when you call the police, the response time they don't have that. Sometimes you call Morant, they tell you to call the area, which is Port Morant, because I live in Leeds Hall. Leeds Hall does not have a vehicle.
All right.
So what are you, the Prime Minister? You're the Prime Minister. What are you going to do now to assist us in getting vehicles for the other police station that doesn't have any, so that they can be better to serve the community?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
The government will announce very shortly, in addition to the crime fighting initiatives, we will be announcing the budget and resources to support those initiatives, which will include the purchase of additional vehicles. Those vehicles are strategically directed to high crime areas. However, based upon your impassioned plea and the good case that you have made, as Prime Minister, I will ensure that the appropriate attention is paid to alleviating the shortage of vehicles in your district.
Thank you so much, sir. Your question.
Good night. I'm Lance from Further East.
Sorry, I know you're a little tall, so just dip a little so you can get to the microphone, please, or young lady's helping. Wonderful. Yes, sir.
Good night. My name is Lance, and I'm from Further East in St. Thomas.
Hi, Lance.
My question is to Stephen Shaw, Mr. Stephen Shaw. Pertaining to the road patching. I always see the jackhammer man, and all the time the jackhammer man come out, we have to fret, because we know when they dig the hole, they're not going to fix it. So right now, I operate a minibus from Morant to Dalby, and we're having a serious problem with the pothole that the man then dig it from the general election, the local government election, and the recent rain. And I know they don't fix it.
All right.
So I'd like you to address that and don't send back the jackhammer man unless you fix him.
Thank you so much, sir. Stephen?
Sir, you know, we want to sincerely apologize for the delay in preparing some of those areas and not having them patched. We have been having some internal issues that we're resolving, and I am advised that in short order, these areas that have been prepared, some of them we will have to give some more attention because some of the material would have been washed out, will be dealt with. But it is something that we don't condone, and it is not something that we really want to be happening on a regular basis, but it does happen, and we apologize for that.
All right, thank you so much, Stephen, and thank you so much, sir, for that response.
You have the budget allocated to do this.
Yes, we have a budgetary allocation in place, and as I said, we have some nuances that we're dealing with internally, and as soon as those issues are resolved, your road will be dealt with.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Ma'am, your question.
Good night, everyone. My name is Tashana Mullings.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I'm a young entrepreneur and an advocate for empowerment, secretary of the St. Thomas Chamber of Commerce. With such development coming to the parish, a total shift in mindset is also going to be very, very necessary. So my question is there any plans for capacity building for young entrepreneurs, specifically in the parish of St. Thomas? Because a lot of my friends never return to St. Thomas or even identify with the parish when they leave to study. So to ensure that the urban center does not become a white elephant that benefits persons from other parishes. I mean, earlier, Prime Minister Holness said, what is there to say when another young lady asked a similar question? But Minister Floyd Green, and to you as well, is there a plan in place in terms of financial access and capacity building for young entrepreneurs that wants to be a part of this development? And as it relates to training in empowerment and becoming a part of this development, I want to become a part of it. And I happen to mentor and work with a lot of other young entrepreneurs who wants to be a part of the development. So I want to hear what the plan is. I don't want to hear that's a good question and we're holding you accountable. I want to hear the plan.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
I think although you don't want to hear a good question, so I'll leave that for last, there is a plan. As I've said, one of the problems that we've had is we haven't had a space in St. Thomas to really appropriately carry out the capacity building.
So one of the things we're trying to treat it first and foremost is to have that youth access point, and that is coming on stream in a few months, so that we will now have a space that we can, you know, locate our capacity building. So we've signed a partnership with the Jamaica Youth Business Trust, because our drive also, which I never got a chance to speak about, is to build innovators, to build entrepreneurs. So our youth centers used to be about information. We're moving from that. So we're now going to youth innovation centers where, let's say, a young person has a business idea, but they don't know how to move from that idea to a business plan. We're going to be facilitating that. And that we expect to start in Morant Bay in a few months, but more importantly, with our youth empowerment officers, we're going to be taking it around all of St. Thomas. What I would love is, after this, for us to talk to see how you can be actively involved in that process. Clearly, we're going to need partnership. We need the Chamber of Commerce on board. In relation to financing, now that's another aspect, and Minister Vaz will speak to that.
Just to add on to Minister Green in terms of the financing. The Development Bank of Jamaica, I spoke to them today before coming here. They have a program for small and medium-sized enterprises, which to date, St. Thomas, they have processed 30 applications already. I would like to speak to you after as well, so I can put you on directly to DBJ. And well, Minister McKenzie can speak to another aspect that I wasn't aware of. But from my ministry, I can tell you, the Development Bank of Jamaica has a very active program, and they have actually received and in the process of 30 applications. So it will be something that you could also help in terms of passing on that information after you have gotten all the details to the other young entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Minister McKenzie?
Are you aware of the SDC's program for young entrepreneurs? Are you aware of that program? We'll talk about it after the meeting. That's a very positive program which has provided assistance for thousands of young people right across the country, including here in St. Thomas.
All right, thank you,
Looking
Minister.
forward
Thank you,
to
ma'am.
work with you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. I noticed, hold on, the man in black, the black shirt, is the last person in the line. Anyone behind him, I'm sorry, just give me your question, and we'll be able to try and get a response to you. All right, sir, your question, please.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Carlos Douglas. I'm from the North River District. My question is, speaking to economic growth, since sports is so big for Jamaica, what will be the development in terms of empowering athletes from St. Thomas and the eastern region?
Thank you so much. All right. Who's taking that one on? Sports and sports development.
The Goodyear Oval is a part of the expansion for the overall recreational side of the parish. We understand that this section of the island lack the kind of facility that exists in Kingston and in other sections of the country. So the Goodyear Oval is an integral part of the expansion of the recreational activity in this section of the parish.
Thank you so much, Minister McKenzie. Ma'am, your question.
Good evening. I'm Tankalisa Chisholm, and I'm from Eastern St. Thomas. My question is to the Prime Minister. What are some of the social programs, if any, do you have to help St. Thomas to make the best opportunity of this grand gesture?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, firstly, a lot of talk about the social aspect, but I just want to shift in answering your question a little bit. That this project is designed to be a commercial success. In other words, it is not designed for the government to subsidize the program. It is designed to utilize the existing commerce in this parish in such a way as to make it a profitable venture for all who participate in it. The government's role, however, is to help to develop the human resources that are here so that the businesses that come don't have to necessarily spend on trying to bring the human resource up to the standard that they need to produce. So we have established in parallel with this a national program called the LEGS program, Learn, Earn, Give and Save. And that program has started. We are going to be employing 500 persons. Colonel Rickman is here. or was here, I don't see where is Colonel Rickman, who is in charge of the employment aspect of the HOPE program. That program will be rolled out right across the country. It will target young, unattached youth. People who are not in school, not employed, who lack skills. It will give them an opportunity to develop their personal character and professional training. It will give them an opportunity to develop skills. It will place them in an apprenticeship program. They will get a stipend, and they will be able to save out of that stipend. At the end of the one-year apprenticeship, they will have access to their saving. They will be certified, and they will be far more employable than they were before. That is the main thrust of the government right now, in addition to all the other training programs that we are doing between HART, NTA, and the other training agencies.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right, sir, your question.
Good evening. My name is Clement Baptiste from Hagligia Bush up in St. Thomas. Paul Bogle says, put on Sampata, mash down Maca, and let St. Thomas people pass through. You have just demonstrated, Prime Minister. You put on your Sampata. You're mashing down the Maca and allowing the people of St. Thomas to pass through. In my lifetime, I have never seen this. I have never. And I've seen many politicians, I've seen many discussions. You don't just tell us, you show it to us. And that demonstration must go around this country, because if we're talking about management, that's what we really need. I have a simple suggestion to my good friend, Mr. McKenzie. When you have something like this, the next thing you call for is people's participation, and the next thing is management. I am suggesting, in the next parish council election, why don't we have a direct election of mayor, so that everybody in St. Thomas vote for the mayor, the manager, so that the people will have a larger input in managing that brand new something that I see display on your job.
Thank you so much, sir. One question. Thank you. I think you do want to follow the suit of Portmore.
Thank you, Mr. Baptiste. The question of the direct election of mayors is not forgotten. There are some sections that need to be worked out that we need to look at, which I think can be replicated, but it is something that the government still has under consideration. But I'm not telling you that it is going to happen for the next local government election, but it is still under consideration.
Thank you so much, Minister. Our penultimate question, ma'am?
Good evening. My name is Charmaine. I live in Hampton Court.
I'm sorry, Charmaine, could you raise your voice for me?
Okay. My name is Charmaine, and I'm from Hampton Court.
Thank you.
Pusey Wilson. My question is, as it relates to the urban development, are there any plans for a first-class medical center, or will there be an upgrade of the Princess Margaret Hospital to even a Type B hospital?
Thank you so much.
Well, there is no specific plan in the development here. But, well, maybe you would want to.
Mr. Stern? All right. No, that, yes.
There will be a diagnostic center here and a clinic, but it will not be like the hospital you know enjoy here. So the improvement of the hospital, I will leave it to the Ministry of Health. But we will have a health facility there with a diagnostic center, okay?
Right, so there will be some health facilities in this urban development, but it won't replace the need that you have just raised, which is the need for the upgrade of your hospital.
Thank you so much. That was Michael Stern, a board member of the Factories Corporation. Dr. Ferguson as well wants to contribute. Sir, just that microphone there.
Just to respond in relation to Hampton Court. Hampton Court was one of those. Isaac Barrett Hospital was closed down, as you well remember. And we have established a center of excellence at Hampton Court. We have spent over $100 million upgrading that facility. Phase 2 is now ongoing, and the idea was to create a community hospital that would ease the pressure on Princess Margaret Hospital. As it is now, there are issues at Princess Margaret Hospital relative to manpower, etc. But over $200 million have been spent right now. $143 million is being spent at Princess Margaret Hospital to establish the best accident and emergency area anywhere in the country. So there are issues, Prime Minister, but Hampton Court in particular. I know that Isaac Barron, right now, what it will need when it's up and running is additional doctors and nurses, extended hours, and an ambulance that will allow for movement between there and Princess Margaret in relation to referral. But I can argue that Isaac Barron or Hampton Court in particular, there are plans in place, and Minister Tufton is following through with work that has already started.
Thank you so much, Member of Parliament, Dr. Fenton Ferguson, for that input. And tonight, one solid hour of questions being asked by members of the community here, and of course, all of you in St. Thomas. Our final person to ask a question this evening. Sir, identify yourself and your question.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keith James. I'm from Albion Estate in Yalas.
Hello, Keith.
On behalf Prime Minister, and Most Honorable Prime Minister, I must first of all thank you on behalf of the 90,000 Jamaican citizens who reside in St. Thomas. Because from I was born until now, we have been waiting for something like this. And I'm not a young man. I thank you because our economic development here depends on this. St. Thomas right now is like the old Goodyear factory, mashed down. And it has gone on for years. When I came here from Kingston, I was living in Kingston, working with Cable and Wireless for 30 years. I came here and said, well, boy, I'm going to have to see if I can get into some organization to see if I can stimulate some development. I was with Mr. Clement Baptiste when he was with the PDC, and we went on for years. Cost us some money. We did it because we wanted to see improvement. It's only coming now.
Yes.
I thank you, you know, on behalf of these people, because they needed it. They need training, but they'll be a part of this thing, and it will go forward. And I think St. Thomas will develop from now on, as long as the main road from Harborview to Portland is really continued and in the same level of quality.
Thank you.
I must
Your question?
I must divert. I didn't ask my question.
Yes.
Though. My question is...
We want you to get to it, though, you know.
Yes. My question, sir, is can you help us, citizens at Albion? I'm their public relations representative. Can you help us to secure our recreational area? There is one that was there, and they've been trying for about 20-odd years now to secure it. It was given to us by the developers, but it wasn't handed over formally. And the lot has been sold 3 times, sir. And at this point in time, we are still trying to get that recreational space. Communication has gone to Mr. McKenzie, Dr. Chang, And there's one coming to you. But I just want you to be advised that we need help from you, sir.
No. Sir, you are definitely getting the communication directly to the Prime Minister now. So
yes.
Have him answer. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, sir, I've toured the area, the housing scheme. I don't know the exact piece of land that you're speaking of, but I await your letter, and whatever assistance that we can give, I will ensure that Minister McKenzie, Minister Grange, and I will ask Minister Vaz, who's in my office, to follow through. All right?
All right. Can't get it any more direct than that. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, all the residents of St. Thomas. Now, listen. The young lady that asked a very poignant question earlier, Anastasia Goldburn. Anastasia, come here, please. She is your parish representative. She is the JCDC St. Thomas Festival Queen 2017. Go out, support her. She's yours. All right? So is there something that I can vote to have you win? What's the number?
Good evening again, everyone. You can show your support by logging on to the JCDC Festival Queen competition page on Facebook and just like my picture. Let us take the victory home to St. Thomas, and I would very much love your continued support. Thank you.
Boy, it looks like she's Festival Queen already. All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. The Prime Minister will have a final word in terms of wrapping up, and then certainly after we'll see you again. Prime Minister?
Well, firstly, let me thank all of you. You've been a lovely audience. I want to thank you for the questions. The questions really reflect a very high level of understanding, appreciation, interest, and engagement. We are very pleased with the support that we have seen. It gives us, as your servants, encouragement. I am always heartened when the people come out and say, I want to take ownership of my future and my destiny. And this is what I have seen today. St. Thomas is alive and well. Prosperity is yours. God bless you. Traveling mercies home.
Thank you so much, St. Thomas.
My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream. Tell you my dream is to live my dream. Hear the most I in me sleep when me sleep. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. All of my goal is to reach my goal. Live a happy life, put it on me headstone. Nobody no fi cry over me dead. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. I mean, I tell you my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Me a take plane like JUTC. When you see me, it's on TV. Shows after shows after shows after shows. Tours after tours after tours after tours. When me name call is like roars after roars. Sweet melody and chorus after chorus. Them lock a one door, me bust doors after doors after doors after doors after doors after doors. Look at me now, where them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. I mean, I tell you my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. The blessing does a flow over. This a copia and a cover. Jaja soldier from boardhouse to sidewalk to leather sofa. Them say me living at the coast and no track. No sir, me no mix up in a coca. Marijuana no dust to the nose ya. I no powder, not a obia. Can't get over. Look at me now, where them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. I mean, I tell you my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so long.